Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we are doing a overview of the Arrma Vendetta. This is a 1/8 scale 4-wheel drive electric brushless speed racer, and this is 3S capable and it is ready to run. They're stating that it will go 70+ miles per hour with the optional speed gear, which is included with this RC. What we will be looking at is another extension off of the Arrma 3S lineup, except for this one is dedicated for on-road. Can do a little bit of off-roading, but it's dedicated for on-road bashing. Let's go over what you get with the Arrma Vendetta. You get an optional wing with the car, 2 Allen wrenches, the multi-purpose tool that we've seen now from the Vortex now over to the Vendetta. And this allows you to tune your shocks. It also allows you to adjust the slipper clutch. There's also a wheel hex on the end over here. So it's a multi-purpose tool to utilize to work on the car. You get the 26 tooth pinion, and this is the high-speed pinion for the car. They give you this too as well. You get a technical guide, and this goes over how to swap out your pinion, how to set your mesh. It also goes over how to remove the center drive shaft out of the car and to swap out your slipper clutch. And it gives you a full blowout of the RC and all the part numbers associated with it. And then you get a pretty extensive owner's manual. This goes over everything down to your ESC settings, what you do when you first get the car, and it's making sure that everything is lined up for that first run. And it comes in multiple different languages. And finally, we get the DX3 controller. This is what we kind of see on the higher priced 3S Arrma models. Obviously, we see this also with the 6S lineup and the 8S lineup, but you know, with the 3S lineup, you don't see it so much on the entry level ones, but we see this more now with the ones with that higher price point. It takes 4 AA's. It is a 3-channel controller, so you have steering, throttle, and the third switch is down here by my thumb. If you are in the Spectrum family with your batteries and everything else, it also gives you the telemetry in regards to your battery levels. It has the steering reverse switch, throttle reverse switch. You have the limiter for 50, 75, and 100 for your throttle. You have the power button, which is located right here. You have your steering dual rate, your brake rate, your steering trim, your throttle trim. With the steering rate, this is also for AVC. You can plug in the Bluetooth module to this to allow you to get a little bit more telemetry out of this controller. But that is an optional item that you would need to purchase to get the Bluetooth module to plug in and get that extra form of telemetry for it. It has a nice foam wheel. It can be driven with one hand too as well, guys. If you guys are one-handed drivers, yes, it is very easy to drive it with one hand. I like this controller. I've had this with a lot of my RCs, and I do like this as a ready-to-run controller. It's pretty good. It feels good in the hand. What you'll need to complete this RC is 4 AA's for the controller, charger for the LiPo battery, and a 2S or 3S LiPo battery. Here we are, guys, the Arrma Vendetta, what we came here to see. The car initially comes with gunmetal wheels. These tires are new to the Arrma lineup. So for these tires that we're seeing on here, these are on-road based tires. They are vented. I don't know if they're belted, but they do feel firm. We'll see how they perform on our first run, and I'll comment about if there's anything that created from ballooning or rubbing, but they do feel good. These are the 11s, which is a new tire to the Arrma lineup. There's a very low tread that's on here, and I know you probably can run this on gravel or loose dirt. As you guys are noticing, the wheels have a different color than what comes on the car. I decided to paint mine up, change it up a little bit. So I have a Tamiya lime green or lime color paint that's on here. I'll put that in the description below. But we can clearly see that we got the lime color. It is not yellow. It's more of like a lime color to it. And they have the blue one. That's the other model. It is a gloss with a little bit of flat paint on there to give you the swirls. And there are decals affixed to it. You are seeing some holes, and these holes are permanent in the body to give it a little bit more air passing through. So we have tethers for the body clips, and this is pretty much standard on all of the Arrmas to date. This body has a significant amount of weight to it. A lot of it is going to be this wing coming off the rear. It does provide a large amount of weight to it. And what I will say, guys, even though the entire body is Lexan and the wing here is Lexan, these are not. This is a little bit of a heavier plastic. that we're seeing on the sides of the wing. This is definitely not Lexan, and this is definitely not Lexan. This is a heavier form of plastic that's giving you the supports on the side. And then we have screws that are affixed to mount everything on this car. So that is giving you a little bit more weight to it. This wing coming off the top here, this is part of the body, and it is hollow underneath. If you guys wanted to see that, it is hollow. The body has a nice silver backing on it, and it feels good. Typical with Arrma, you have the body protectors that are on here to kind of prevent from rubbing. So you have that in the front, a little bit up here, and some more in the rear. And of course, Arrma with the slogan, "Don't just bash, blast." But it's not a bad body, guys. I know some guys like it, some guys hate it, but it's not a bad body. Once you see it in person, it definitely pops. And that's why I chose this color particularly. So I wanted something that pops, so when it's from a distance from me, I could see it coming at me. But it feels really good, guys. The body does feel sound in the hand. I don't see too many issues that are going to happen with this. We'll see if there's any rubbing or anything else that happens. But from what I see on this body, it's pretty good. Yeah, the decals, they're mounted on there. They're not terribly mounted on there. They seem to be lined up nicely. And Arrma has definitely improved on that over the years. And I will say the decals, they're lined up pretty nice on this body. We have a nice firm foam bumper coming off of here. And we have body mounts up in the front, and they are adjustable. So if you want to swap the body out, put something else in. The shock tower is a composite shock tower. We have oil-filled coilover shocks, and they are screw down adjustable. So this is something that we saw on the Arrma Vortex lineup as well. You have composite links in the front and also in the rear of the car. The drive shafts are telescopic and also composite. Rubber sealed ball bearings throughout. We got metal gear differentials, heavy duty steel input, and 1.35 mod 37 to 13 tooth gears. The lower support arms are also composite on here, and there are no adjustments to the lower or the upper shock mount positions on here. So everything is fixed. There's no adjustments for them. We have a sway bar system up here in the front. As I stated before, we have the mud guards up in the front as well, and those anti-rock system that they said they have. I always tend to seem to get rocks in there anyway, but we do have an anti-rock system going on here in the front. For the servo, we have an S651 servo. It's waterproof, it's metal gear, 23 tooth spline, and it's 101 ounces of torque on 6 volt. We have the seal receiver box on here. And unlike what we see on most of the other Arrma vehicles, we have the ESC mounted down below. 100 amp ESC, IC5 connector coming off of the ESC. The 3S Spectrum Firma system setup in this car. Also comes with AVC. And then we have the 3900 kV motor behind the ESC, and that has the heat sink with a fan on top of it. That fan seems a little small. We'll see how that happens. Even though we're going into the winter months at the time of this video, we'll see how temperatures perform on this, especially when we're running this on 3S. We have a telescopic composite drive shaft, and that has a bearing affixed with it. And that's what we see typically with the brushless models of these Arrma 3S lineups. We have a nice sized battery tray, and the batteries would be affixed with Velcro strap. We have a metal motor mount in here. The motor mount adjustments on this one, they're not the fixed ones that we saw from initially with some of the Arrma 3S lineups. They kind of went back to the ones where you're able to adjust it. And then we have a spring load system for the slipper clutch. We have a composite chassis, and for those of you that are familiar with the larger 3S or 4S lineup vehicles, this is the chassis length that's on here. So we're looking at now something similar to like a Big Rock or the Creighton 4S. That's what this chassis length is. It is not from the Granite or from the Vortex. It is definitely that longer chassis wheelbase that we're seeing on this car. Going off to the rear, we have that modular system coming off the rear of it to remove the motor system. And in the rear, same deal, guys. So we have plastic links on there, telescopic drive shafts, also composite. The lower support arms, those are also composite. And there is a sway bar coming off in the rear. And for the shocks, same deal. No adjustments on the shocks, lower or upper. And they are oil-filled coilover shocks with a screw cap down for adjustment. The body mount system in the rear is also adjustable, And we have this large diffuser coming off here as well. So it's almost like a double diffuser. You have the one that's lower here and then the upper one that's Lexan. Completely new setup for these on-road 3S vehicles. So you know how we like to do, guys. Brought one of the other vehicles in our collection to give you more of a size comparisons between the two. Just trying to give you guys an idea of what a 8-scale 3S Arrma looks like compared to some of the other ones that are out there on the market. Now, this is the Maverick Quantum R Flux. This is fairly new to the market at the timing of this video. This has a composite chassis. It is 1/8 scale. It comes with 17mm hexes on there. This is coming with 14mm hexes on there. I wish they would standardize this and make this 17, but this is actually 14mm hexes that are on this one. Wheelbase wise, they're about the same, and you guys are going to see that this really does fit the part when it talks 1/8 scale. I'm going to take the bodies off, give you guys a better sense of what they look like underneath in regards to the size, the wheelbase, and also the width of the cars. Now, this is one that caught me off guard, guys. We are looking at the Quantum R Flux sitting on top, the Arrma Vendetta down below. And what I'm noticing is that the Quantum R is a wider vehicle. I'm looking at the inner parts, I'm looking at the outer, and it is clearly a wider vehicle than the Vendetta, which I didn't expect. I actually thought the Vendetta would have been about the same width as the Quantum R Flux. And this is more true to that 1/8 scale size. So I'm a little surprised that they made a vehicle and it's that narrow, that much narrower than what you would see on the Quantum R Flux. Let's give you guys another angle so you can get a better sense of the wheelbase. And there we are, guys. The wheelbase of these two cars, it's spot on, same wheelbase. And I definitely did expect it to look like this. I expected the wheelbases to be about the same. If the Vendetta is truly calling itself a 8 scale RC, it has to be standard to this wheelbase. It has to be standard to this wheelbase length, because this would be closer to what we would see in a 10th scale short course truck. Here we are, the Traxxas Rally, Arrma Vendetta. You know that you guys can see that the height difference clearly goes to the Traxxas. This is set up, as you guys may have known who have seen this on the channel before, this is set up for 4S, not a stock Rally by any means. This, another one, true 1/8 scale size. This is typically, this is the 1/10 scale Traxxas slash chassis base that's used with a little bit of more of a narrow arm set. And this to me falls in with those true 1/8 scale RCs. This comes in about the size of a 1/8 scale buggy, which is what we normally would compare these to. Traxxas Rally, Arrma Vendetta, and you're probably seeing that too in regards to the tire heights. This is running GRP wheel and tires that are on here. These are 17mm hexes that are on this car. Typically, I think this comes with 12mm. These are true 1/8 scale wheels and tires that are running on here, and these are definitely a taller wheel. And I'm not sure how that's coming up on the camera, but it's the same as what I was showing you, the Quantum R Flux. The Traxxas Rally is just clearly a wider vehicle than the Arrma Vendetta. And just to give you another angle in regards to the wheelbase, as I said before with the Quantum R Flux, wheelbase is exactly the same vehicle. So to this point, we've done an overview of the Arrma Vendetta. We've done the size comparisons between the Arrma Vendetta and the Quantum R Flux, also the Traxxas Rally. But we're gonna leave it here, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest posts to the channel. Hit the bell so you get the most latest updates to when we release our videos. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.